Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly felt uneasy, without knowing why? Or remembered a face but couldn't recall where you'd seen it? That mysterious, invisible part of your mind, the one pulling strings behind every decision, emotion, and memory, is your subconscious. And it's far more powerful than most people ever realize. Scientists estimate that up to 95% of your brain's activity happens beneath conscious awareness. Every heartbeat, every breath, every instinctive reaction, all governed by systems that never ask for permission. Your subconscious mind is the silent operator, running the code of your life while your conscious self, the you that thinks, plans, and worries, only sees the surface. But what exactly is the subconscious mind? And how powerful is it, really? To understand that, we need to look at how your brain evolved. The conscious mind, the one capable of logic, reasoning, and self-reflection, is a relatively new development in human evolution. It sits like a small island atop a vast ocean of older, more primal processes that govern emotion, instinct, and automatic behavior. That ocean is your subconscious. It's ancient, deeply emotional, and incredibly fast. While your conscious mind can process about 40 bits of information per second, your subconscious can process millions. Every sound, image, and experience you've ever encountered, even those you've forgotten, is stored somewhere within that deep neural sea. It shapes how you see the world, how you react to people, and even how you define yourself. Think of it as a massive archive, a living database that never stops recording. But it's not just passive storage. The subconscious mind learns. It constantly watches, listens, and adapts, forming associations long before you're aware of them. When you touch a hot stove as a child, the lesson of pain equals danger is burned not only into your skin, but into your subconscious pattern recognition. Later in life, you don't have to think before pulling your hand away. The subconscious already knows. This same mechanism shapes everything from fear and confidence to motivation and creativity. Have you ever experienced a gut feeling? That's your subconscious analyzing countless micro-patterns of experience and spitting out an answer faster than logic can catch up. It's intuition, not magic, but computation at lightning speed. And yet, the subconscious isn't just protective. It's persuasive. It influences what you believe you can or cannot do. Repetition, emotion, and visualization are its language. When you tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," your subconscious listens and begins to build a reality that fits that belief. But when you affirm confidence, picture success, or repeat empowering thoughts, your subconscious rewires in your favor. It's like programming a supercomputer. Whatever instructions you give it, it executes faithfully, without question. Psychologists call this the law of dominance. The subconscious doesn't argue with the conscious mind. It simply obeys. That's why habits, both good and bad, are so powerful. Once something sinks below awareness, it becomes automatic, repeating endlessly, unless consciously reprogrammed. And here's where the true power of the subconscious reveals itself. It doesn't distinguish between reality and imagination. When you vividly visualize something, an outcome, a memory, a fear, your brain activates the same neural pathways as if it were happening in real life. That's why elite athletes mentally rehearse before competition. They're not daydreaming. They're training their subconscious to believe they've already succeeded. But the same process can trap us. When you constantly visualize failure or replay trauma, your subconscious locks those emotions in place, reinforcing anxiety and self-doubt. You become the prisoner of your own programming. The truth is, your subconscious mind isn't good or bad. It's neutral. It's pure power, pure influence. Whether it builds or destroys depends entirely on how you feed it. Every thought, word, and feeling is a command. So, how powerful is your subconscious mind? More than you think. It's not just influencing your behavior. It's shaping your entire perception of reality. Because the real battle for your life doesn't happen in your external world. It happens quietly, invisibly, beneath the surface of your awareness. And the question isn't if your subconscious controls you. The question is, how well do you control it? Have you ever wondered why you sometimes react before you think? Why certain songs trigger deep emotions? Or why you can drive for miles and suddenly realize you don't remember part of the journey? That's your subconscious mind at work, a vast, intelligent network silently running every process that keeps you alive and functioning. While it feels mysterious or even spiritual, there's a solid scientific foundation behind it. The subconscious isn't magic. It's a complex interaction between memory, emotion, and neural automation that happens beyond your conscious control. Your conscious mind is like the tip of an iceberg, the small visible part of what your brain can actually do. It's where logic, reasoning, and decision-making live. It's slow, deliberate, and easily exhausted. You can only focus on one thing at a time, and when you're constantly making choices, your mind tires quickly. But beneath that surface lies something much deeper, your subconscious. It's the massive, unseen part of the iceberg that does almost everything else. It's responsible for habits, instincts, emotions, and those automatic reactions you never have to think about. Scientists often describe it as the fast, intuitive system that acts instantly while your conscious mind takes time to reason things out. When you first learn something new, like driving or typing, your conscious mind handles every step carefully. You think about pressing the pedals, watching the mirrors, moving your hands. But as you repeat the process, something remarkable happens. The subconscious begins to take over. Your brain starts storing these actions in deeper structures like the basal ganglia. Over time, those pathways strengthen, and suddenly you're driving home while thinking about something entirely different. That's the power of neural automation, the subconscious creating shortcuts so you can live efficiently. Now imagine this happening with everything you do. How you respond to people, how you form opinions, even how you see yourself. Over 90% of your behavior is controlled by subconscious programming. The tone in your voice, your morning routine, your fears, and even your confidence, they all stem from patterns your subconscious learned long ago. The subconscious also has a strong emotional connection. It works closely with your limbic system, the emotional center of the brain. That's why emotions are the language of the subconscious. Whenever something deeply affects you, a moment of fear, joy, or love, your subconscious takes note and marks it as significant. It builds emotional shortcuts to guide future behavior. That's why a single bad experience can make you afraid of something for years. The subconscious isn't logical, it's protective. It stores emotional memories as lessons or warnings, long after your conscious mind has forgotten. What's fascinating is that the subconscious doesn't clearly distinguish between imagination and reality. MRI studies show that when you imagine lifting your arm, the same parts of the brain activate as when you physically do it. To your subconscious, what you imagine can be as real as what you experience. That's why visualization and affirmations can rewire your brain. When you truly feel them, your subconscious starts to believe them. Every image you see, every word you hear, every thought you repeat, your subconscious absorbs it all. It doesn't filter what's good or bad, true or false. It just learns. That's how advertisements influence us so powerfully. The repetition, emotion, and imagery bypass the conscious mind and slip straight into the subconscious, shaping desires and decisions before we realize it. Think of the subconscious as an autopilot system. Once it's programmed, it keeps running its routines automatically. It's not trying to harm or help you. It just repeats what it knows. If your mind is constantly filled with fear, negativity, and doubt, your subconscious assumes that's your reality and adjusts accordingly. It keeps you stuck because what's familiar feels safe, even when it isn't healthy. That's why breaking habits or changing beliefs feels so uncomfortable. You're not just changing thoughts, you're reprogramming years of mental wiring. But the subconscious is not your enemy. It's your greatest ally when you learn to work with it. Through repetition, visualization, and strong emotional experiences, you can retrain it. Neuroscientists call this process synaptic pruning, weakening old neural connections and strengthening new ones. It's slow but powerful, and once those new patterns take hold, your subconscious begins working for you instead of against you. Modern science now recognizes that this hidden part of the mind doesn't just shape thoughts, it affects your body too. It regulates over 37 trillion cells, controls your heartbeat, hormones, and immune system, and even influences how quickly you heal. When you're stressed, the subconscious triggers survival mode, flooding your system with hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Over time, that shapes not only how you feel but how your body functions. So when people talk about mind over matter, they aren't being mystical, they're describing a biological truth. Your subconscious connects thought, emotion, and biology in one continuous loop. You don't just think your life, you're constantly programming it. The more scientists uncover about the subconscious, the clearer it becomes that it's not a silent passenger. It's the unseen engine that drives everything you do, think, and feel. It doesn't sleep, it doesn't stop, and it never forgets. It's quietly shaping your world, one thought at a time. Every belief you hold, whether it's about success, love, or your own worth, started somewhere deep inside you. Most of them were planted long before you could even question them. As a child, your mind was like wet clay, soft and impressionable, absorbing every word, tone, and emotion around you. Those early experiences didn't just fade with time. They built the blueprint your subconscious still follows today. This hidden network of beliefs is what quietly shapes your reality. You don't see the code running, but you live its output every single day. Scientists have long known that our brains don't simply react to reality. They help create it. The subconscious mind acts like a filter through which every experience passes. When you believe something strongly, your brain automatically looks for evidence to confirm it. It's called confirmation bias, but on a deeper level, it's your subconscious protecting the beliefs it knows. If you believe you're not good enough, your subconscious notices every failure and dismisses every success. If you believe opportunities are everywhere, you begin to notice them in places others overlook. What you focus on expands, not by magic, but through the brain's own wiring. This happens because of something neuroscientists call the reticular activating system, or RAS. It's a tiny bundle of neurons in the brainstem that acts as a gatekeeper for attention. Every second, millions of bits of information flood your senses, but your conscious mind can only handle a few dozen. The RAS decides what makes it through, and it bases that decision on what your subconscious believes is important. So if you've ever noticed that when you buy a new car, suddenly that same model appears everywhere, it's not that there are more of them, it's that your subconscious has told your brain, this matters. Belief literally changes what you see. The subconscious also plays a huge role in how the body reacts to those beliefs. Imagine two people standing before a crowd. One believes they're confident and capable. The other believes they're going to fail. Both experience the same situation, but their bodies respond completely differently. The confident one feels energized, their heart rate steady. The fearful one feels their throat tighten, their stomach churn, their hands shake. Both realities are true for them. Their subconscious has instructed the body to respond in alignment with what it believes. This is where the line between thought and reality begins to blur. Experiments in placebo research reveal just how powerful this connection is. When patients believe they're receiving real medication, their bodies often produce measurable healing responses, even when given sugar pills. Brain scans show changes in chemistry and neural activity that match those who took actual drugs. It's not imagination, it's biology. The subconscious, convinced of a certain truth, tells the body to act accordingly. The same happens in reverse. If someone deeply believes they are sick, powerless, or unworthy, the subconscious can keep their body locked in a state of tension, fatigue, or fear. The stress hormones released by that state can affect everything from sleep to immunity. The mind doesn't simply influence the body, it directs it. But here's the hopeful part: beliefs aren't fixed. They can be rewritten. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections, gives us a way to reshape those subconscious codes. Every time you challenge a limiting belief, visualize a different outcome, or act in spite of fear, you're sending your brain new data. Repetition is the key. The subconscious learns not through logic, but through experience and emotion. You can't just tell yourself you're confident. You must feel it repeatedly until your brain accepts it as truth. Over time, old neural patterns weaken and new ones take their place. The subconscious begins to favor these new signals, building a fresh version of reality around them. What once felt impossible starts to feel natural. This is why transformation doesn't happen in a single moment of willpower. It happens gradually, beneath awareness, as the subconscious rewires itself. The truth is, your subconscious doesn't care whether your beliefs are true or false. It only cares whether they're familiar. If you feed it fear, it builds a fearful world. If you feed it confidence and gratitude, it reshapes your perception until the world mirrors that belief. Every thought you repeat becomes a command, and every emotion you hold strengthens the circuit. Your subconscious isn't just a part of your mind. It's the silent architect of your entire life. It paints your perception, guides your choices, and even decides how far you'll go, long before you consciously realize it. It doesn't need permission to shape your reality. It already is. And yet, this power isn't beyond your control. The moment you begin to understand it, you stop being a passenger in your own mind and start becoming its programmer. If your subconscious mind is the quiet force shaping your life, then learning to reprogram it is the closest thing to rewriting destiny. But unlike typing code into a machine, you can't just tell your subconscious to change and expect it to obey. It doesn't speak the language of logic. It speaks in repetition, imagery, and emotion. That's why reading a motivational quote or saying, "I'm confident," once doesn't transform you. Your subconscious only listens to what it feels and experiences repeatedly. It learns through patterns, not promises. The first step to reprogramming is awareness. You can't change what you can't see. The subconscious hides behind automatic thoughts, those quiet, reflexive voices that whisper in the background. When you make a mistake and instantly think, "I'm so stupid," that's not your conscious self speaking. It's a script written years ago, probably when you were too young to defend yourself. The mind recorded the emotion, the tone, the humiliation, and stored it as truth. Each time that belief was reinforced, it became stronger. Awareness breaks that loop. When you catch yourself thinking automatically, you momentarily bring it into consciousness. And once something becomes conscious, it loses some of its power. The next step is replacement. The brain hates a void. You can't simply delete a thought, you must replace it with a new one. But here's where most people fail. They try to replace a deep emotional imprint with flat words. The subconscious doesn't understand plain language, it understands feeling. If you repeat, "I'm confident," while feeling unworthy, your subconscious receives the emotion, not the words. But if you close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine yourself walking, talking, and succeeding with genuine feeling, your brain begins to rewire. Neural imaging shows that imagined experiences activate the same regions as real ones. To the subconscious, they're equally valid. Visualization works not because it's mystical, but because it's neurological. When you vividly imagine yourself doing something, you strengthen the same neural pathways you would use in reality. Athletes use this technique constantly. Olympic runners mentally rehearse every movement, every breath, every finish line moment, and their performance improves measurably. The subconscious doesn't care whether it's memory, imagination, or experience. It only knows what's repeated with conviction. The second language of the subconscious is repetition. Habits are formed not through effort, but through consistency. Every time you think, feel, or act a certain way, you deepen that mental groove. Over time, the brain becomes efficient. It runs the path of least resistance. That's why breaking a habit feels like swimming against a current. You're trying to reroute a river. But with enough repetition, the current changes. The old pathway fades, and the new one takes over. This is neuroplasticity in motion, the physical evidence that the brain can literally reshape itself based on how you think. Emotion is the amplifier. Without emotion, thoughts are weak signals. With emotion, they become commands. That's why fear imprints so deeply. It carries high emotional charge. But joy, excitement, and love can do the same, if practiced consciously. When you attach powerful positive emotion to new beliefs, the subconscious prioritizes them. You're essentially teaching it, "This matters. Keep this." Another method is environmental alignment. Your surroundings constantly reinforce what your subconscious believes. The music you listen to, the people you spend time with, even the colors around you, they all send messages to your inner mind. If you constantly absorb negativity, your subconscious will normalize it. But if you fill your environment with images, words, and sounds that match the life you want, your subconscious begins to adapt. That's why vision boards, journaling, and affirmations can work. Not because they're magical, but because they bombard the subconscious with consistent emotional reminders of your desired reality. Sleep is another key moment. The brain shifts frequencies as you drift into the theta state, a deeply relaxed, suggestible phase between wakefulness and sleep. This is when your conscious filters are weakest and your subconscious is most open. Listening to positive affirmations, soothing sounds, or guided meditations before bed can slowly reshape deep mental patterns. It's the same state children live in during their early years. Wide open, endlessly absorbing, forming the foundations of who they'll become. The final piece is patience. The subconscious does not change overnight. It takes persistence to overwrite years of programming. But small shifts accumulate. One day, a thought that once triggered anxiety no longer does. A situation that used to feel impossible suddenly feels normal. That's the moment you realize the subconscious has accepted a new truth. You've rewritten your own operating system. The power to change your life was never outside of you. It was buried deep within, waiting for you to learn its language, to speak not through words but through emotion, repetition, and vision. Once you do, the subconscious stops being your silent saboteur and becomes your most loyal ally. Your mind doesn't end where your brain does. Every cell in your body listens to your thoughts, obeying the instructions whispered by your subconscious. This connection between mind and body isn't poetic, it's biological. The subconscious communicates with the body through chemical signals, hormones, and electrical impulses, translating emotion into physical form. When you feel stress, fear, or peace, your body isn't imagining it. It's reacting to the stories your subconscious tells it. Imagine standing on the edge of a tall building. Even if you're perfectly safe, your heart races, your palms sweat, and your stomach tightens. You know logically that you're in no danger, but your subconscious doesn't deal in logic. It interprets your thoughts as reality and sends the body into survival mode. The amygdala, the brain's alarm center, fires instantly, releasing adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart pumps faster, blood rushes to your muscles, your pupils dilate. The body prepares to run or fight, even though there's nothing to fear but a thought. This is the same mechanism that underlies chronic stress and anxiety. When your subconscious is trapped in loops of fear, worry, or self-doubt, it keeps the body in a low-level survival state. The stress hormones never fully shut off. Over time, they start to damage the system they were meant to protect. Your immune response weakens, digestion slows, sleep becomes shallow, and fatigue sets in. The subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between a tiger in the jungle and an argument replaying in your head. It reacts to both as threats. But this connection works in the opposite direction too. When your subconscious is filled with feelings of safety, love, and gratitude, the body responds with healing chemistry. Oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin flow more freely, lowering inflammation and supporting the immune system. Studies in psychoneuroimmunology, the science of how thoughts influence immunity, show that optimistic, calm individuals often recover faster from illness. It isn't because positivity cures disease. It's because the subconscious governs the body's environment. A peaceful mind produces a healthier body. The subconscious also stores emotional memories not just in the brain, but throughout the body. You can feel this when a certain song or smell suddenly brings tears to your eyes or tightness to your chest. The body remembers what the mind forgets. Traumatic experiences, in particular, can leave physical imprints, muscle tension, posture changes, even chronic pain. That's why some forms of therapy, like somatic healing or breath work, focus on releasing emotion from the body, not just understanding it mentally. They work by helping the subconscious release patterns of physical defense it's been holding for years. It's not an exaggeration to say that your subconscious mind speaks through your body. The racing heart before an important meeting, the lump in your throat during an argument, the deep exhale when you finally relax, they're all messages. Your body doesn't lie. It simply mirrors what your subconscious believes to be true. There's another layer to this connection: placebo and nocebo effects. When a patient believes they are receiving real treatment, the subconscious activates healing responses that mimic those of actual medicine. Brain scans show changes in neurotransmitter levels, pain perception, and immune activity, all triggered by belief alone. Conversely, when someone believes something will harm them, their body often reacts negatively, even to harmless substances. Belief becomes biology. The subconscious is like the scriptwriter of your physiology, directing chemical messengers as if they were actors on a stage. It doesn't care whether the story is joyful or tragic. It just performs the script it's been given. Every thought, every emotion is a cue. And over time, those cues form your body's state of being. That's why healing isn't just about medication or diet. It's about changing the mind's environment. You can't nurture health in a garden of constant fear. When you begin to feed your subconscious peace, self-compassion, and forgiveness, your body gradually follows. Muscles loosen, sleep deepens, digestion improves, and energy returns. It's as if your cells finally exhale after years of holding their breath. The power of the subconscious isn't just in shaping your personality or emotions. It's in shaping your physical reality. You're not a mind carried by a body. You are one integrated system, constantly in conversation with itself. And the words of that conversation are your thoughts. So the next time you feel your body reacting, a rush of heat, a knot in your stomach, a tension in your jaw, pause and listen. It's not random. It's your subconscious speaking in the language of the body, asking you to notice what it's been holding. The moment you learn to hear it, you begin to heal it. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to be in the right place at the right time, landing opportunities effortlessly, meeting the right people, making life look as though it flows around them? It's tempting to call it luck. But if you look closely, you begin to see a deeper pattern, one woven by the subconscious mind. The truth is, your subconscious doesn't just shape your thoughts or your body. It influences the very reality you move through. It filters what you perceive, guides your intuition, and nudges you toward experiences that match your inner world. Every moment, your brain takes in an unimaginable amount of data, millions of bits of color, sound, texture, temperature, and emotion. Yet your conscious mind can process only a tiny fraction. The rest is handled by your subconscious, which quietly decides what deserves attention and what should fade into the background. If your subconscious believes the world is hostile, you'll notice every threat. If it believes the world is full of possibility, you'll notice every chance. In both cases, the world doesn't change, your perception does. This filtering effect creates what feels like coincidence. You might think of an old friend and suddenly receive a message from them. You might dream of a career change and then stumble upon an opportunity that fits perfectly. Psychologists call it selective attention and pattern recognition, but it's more than just data sorting. Your subconscious has been trained to look for experiences that align with what it believes. When your beliefs and desires are synchronized, the world seems to bend in your favor. When they're conflicted, everything feels like resistance. This is also why intuition is often so accurate. What people call gut feeling is usually the subconscious processing patterns faster than logic can. It's reading body language, tone, and microsignals you don't consciously notice and translating that data into a feeling. A sudden sense of unease, a quiet pull toward a decision. These aren't random. They're your subconscious analyzing information too subtle for your conscious mind to grasp. Intuition is simply subconscious intelligence speaking through feeling. The subconscious also determines how you attract or repel people and opportunities. Humans are energetic beings, not in a mystical sense, but in terms of behavior, emotion, and body language. When you walk into a room with confidence, your posture, tone, and microexpressions change. Others pick up on these cues subconsciously and respond accordingly. A person whose subconscious radiates fear or doubt sends signals that others instinctively avoid. Someone whose subconscious projects calm assurance draws people in. Attraction, whether in business, relationships, or chance encounters, begins long before words are spoken. But there's a deeper level still, the resonance between internal belief and external experience. Many philosophers and scientists have explored this connection between mind and environment. The brain's mirror neurons, for example, make us deeply responsive to the emotions and behaviors of others. This means your inner state doesn't stay inside you. It ripples outward, influencing and shaping the responses you receive. The world mirrors the vibration of your subconscious. That's why two people can walk through the same city and live completely different lives. One sees hostility, rejection, and limitation. The other sees connection, opportunity, and growth. The city hasn't changed. Their subconscious programming has. What you believe inside determines what you notice outside, and what you notice becomes your experience. The so-called law of attraction isn't a magical force. It's the alignment between subconscious expectation and conscious focus. When your subconscious truly believes you deserve something, it begins guiding your behavior toward it, subtly influencing what you say, how you act, and where you go. You start opening doors you used to overlook. People respond differently. Situations unfold in ways that seem almost too precise to be random. This alignment isn't about wishful thinking. You can't simply say, "I want success," while your subconscious believes you're unworthy of it. The two must agree. When they do, your energy, perception, and behavior synchronize with your goal. When they don't, your subconscious quietly sabotages your efforts, making excuses, attracting obstacles, or causing hesitation. It's not that the world is against you. It's that your inner world isn't yet aligned. The subconscious mind is like a compass pointing toward your dominant beliefs. It constantly steers you in that direction, whether it's toward abundance or scarcity, love or loneliness, confidence or fear. The more you become aware of this influence, the more you can adjust it. By changing what you believe, you change what you attract. And then life begins to shift in ways that feel uncanny. The right people appear. The timing works out. You find yourself exactly where you need to be, as though guided by something invisible. But it isn't the universe favoring you. It's your subconscious, finally aligned with your conscious will, leading you exactly where you were always meant to go. Imagine for a moment that your subconscious mind is like a vast ocean, deep, ancient, and endlessly powerful. The surface, where the waves dance and crash, is your conscious mind, busy, loud, reacting to every gust of wind. But below that surface lies the real power, silent currents that move everything, often without your awareness. Most people spend their entire lives staring at the surface, never realizing that the direction of their lives is being shaped by what moves beneath. You see, your subconscious mind never sleeps. Even when you're awake, it's processing, predicting, creating associations, and shaping your every decision. It decides what you notice, what you ignore, how you react, and even what you feel capable of. The majority of your behavior, scientists say up to 95%, is driven by patterns programmed deep within this hidden layer. The way you love, fear, trust, create, and even dream, all of it begins here. The greatest tragedy is that most people live unaware of this influence. They wake up every day repeating the same thoughts, emotions, and habits, wondering why nothing changes. But the truth is simple: their subconscious hasn't changed. And until it does, no amount of motivation or logic can rewrite the patterns running underneath. The conscious mind decides what you want, but the subconscious decides whether you believe it's possible. Every belief you hold today once began as a repeated message, from parents, teachers, society, or your own experiences. When those messages are repeated enough times, the subconscious accepts them as truth. You're not good enough. People can't be trusted. You'll always struggle. These statements sink deep and become invisible walls that limit how far you allow yourself to go. You might dream of success consciously, but if your subconscious is still holding on to failure, it will quietly redirect you back to what feels familiar. But here's the incredible part: those patterns aren't permanent. The subconscious can be reprogrammed, just as it was programmed. Every thought, image, and emotion you repeat creates a neural pathway, a tiny groove in your brain's architecture. When you focus on something new consistently, that groove deepens, while the old one begins to fade. It's like learning a new route home, at first awkward, then automatic. Over time, your subconscious begins to favor the new belief, and your behavior shifts naturally to match it. Visualization, affirmation, mindfulness, and meditation all work because they speak directly to this part of the mind. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine a reality, your subconscious can't distinguish it from an actual experience. That's why elite athletes visualize their victories before they happen. They're not fantasizing, they're programming. They're teaching their subconscious what success feels like so that when the real moment arrives, the body and mind respond as if it's already familiar. But reprogramming isn't just about thinking positive. It's about emotional resonance. The subconscious understands emotion more than logic. If you repeat an affirmation without feeling it, it's just noise. But if you feel the emotion, truly believe it, that's when change begins. The key isn't forcing belief, but gently training your inner world to expect better outcomes. Over time, your subconscious becomes your ally rather than your enemy. It starts guiding you toward healthier choices, synchronizing your energy with opportunities, and filtering your focus toward progress instead of fear. Life stops feeling like resistance and starts flowing again. You stop fighting your own mind. And this is where the real power lies, not in controlling the subconscious, but in understanding it. The more aware you become of its influence, the more you can live consciously, catching yourself in old loops, choosing new thoughts, and reshaping your internal dialogue. The mind is no longer a battlefield between desire and doubt. It becomes a collaboration between what you know and what you feel. The subconscious isn't a mysterious force outside of you. It is you. The deeper, unfiltered, unguarded version of your mind that remembers everything, feels everything, and silently shapes everything. When you learn to communicate with it, to listen, to guide, to reprogram, your life begins to mirror your true potential. So, how powerful is your subconscious mind, really? Powerful enough to shape your health, your relationships, your destiny, and the world you live in. Powerful enough to keep you trapped in old pain, or to set you free into a new life. But that power doesn't belong to something outside of you. It's been within you all along, waiting for you to remember that the world you see is only a reflection of the world you believe in. And once you awaken to that truth, your mind is no longer your prison. It becomes your most extraordinary tool.